Hey, it's Jacob. Welcome to this new video. And today I want to talk about a general principle. This is not a quote from me. This is from Nassim Nicholas Taleb. It's about the general principle that the solutions on balance need to be simpler than the problems. And that is about like maybe you want to learn AI today, or maybe you want to create a small little product or get started with a small thing that actually work, right? And then build on it. So you start learning about about programming. Maybe you get started on like you look online, how do you create a simple AI or something like that, and then you found a video, and then that video is about like it's telling you how do you create an AI right now. It's very promising, and then you click on it, and then you realize like in order to do that, you need to learn programming. You need to learn about 10 non-standard libraries in Python. You need to learn about SQL. You need to learn about like how to manage databases, and you need to learn about 10 other things. And then you you're stuck. That's it. You're done now. Like you're not gonna go down the rabbit hole of like learning all of those things that also require 10 other things, and then it goes on, and it never stops, and then you never actually get to the actual thing that you wanted in the first place, because basically every time that you need to learn another thing, you need to learn 10 other things. So it's an exponential way of or factorial or whatever way of like learning. It's just a fractal. It's a fractal way of learning. That's the word. It's never gonna stop. A fractal, by definition, is a repetition of a pattern indefinitely. It's never gonna help. And it's like you can't have those things like that are just repetitive in a way where people are basically telling you to work more in order to solve your problem. That's not what we are looking for, and when you're thinking about it, that's not what coaches are doing usually. When you are looking for information about doing things, let's take the example of going to the gym. Like you go to the gym, let's clear that up, and let's talk about like working out, for example, right? You want to work out, and so you're thinking, well, I'm gonna use like maybe 2 hours a week, right? 1 hour on Monday and 1 hour on Friday, for example. So 1 hour plus 1 hour. That's what you have. And then you're gonna ask, maybe pay somebody to help you for during those hours, that one and that one. How can you do things better? And then it's like the coach would say, well, what you need to do on top of those 2 hours is you need to do also like cardio. That is going to help. And then you need to do push-ups, for example, right? This is also going to help. And then you start doing that, and you start adding like that on top of everything that you have, and then you say, well, I have that problem and that problem, what do I do? And then they tell you, well, you need to do pull-ups as well. So pull-ups are gonna help, but keep doing that. The cardio and the push-ups are like 100% essential, and also keep doing that thing that you were doing, like the 2 hours. It's like that's not how it works. That's not what a coach is going to help you. A coach is going to help you basically during those 2 hours here. That might seem very straightforward what I'm explaining here, but like for some reason today, this is something that this is obvious for working out, but like on the internet, people they just don't do that. They pretend like that's not something that is happening. You cannot add things on top of those 2 hours. If you're gonna hire somebody to help you for those 2 hours, then it's about how do you allocate your time during those 2 hours in order to get better. Not doing more work. The advice cannot be just do more work. Sure, it is going to help, but you don't need a coach to know that, right? This is not helpful at all. That's not what we are paying people for. And that's not what we're watching like YouTube videos for either. It's not for like just do more things. And so that's something that we saw today, like we're seeing today also because of like all of the buzzwords like hacks, tips, tricks, or how to do those things and whatever. But like then what ended up happening is marketers, they took those words and they took them as a way to hide content that is explaining, well, just do more work. And it's like these are not tips or hacks, these are just do more work. And sure, that can be helpful if you want to, if you have more time to allocate, but usually that's not the case, right? So that's one aspect of it, but there is also another thing. Like if we're talking about adding time, then there is the cost opportunity of what you're doing. So, for example, if you are gonna add things on top of what you're doing, that means you're gonna have it's going to be a trade-off. Like maybe that's something that doesn't matter necessarily. Like that's maybe 1 hour of watching Netflix, but maybe you don't have that hour. Maybe the hour you're gonna have to sacrifice is going to be sleep, or maybe it's going to be like actually doing something that you are an expert at. And so the cost opportunity of not doing that thing is going to be extremely, extremely painful, and it's going to have a negative effect or impact on what you're doing. So that means doing that more of like more cardio, more push-ups, like isolated for a very, very specific thing. Maybe it's going to have a positive impact, but like because you're sacrificing the other parts of what you're doing, the other parts of your work, then that means it's overall, because you're an expert at those other parts and you're sacrificing that for doing something maybe new, usually that's something new that you don't know how to do really well, then it's going to have a negative impact overall. So this is something that you need to be careful when you're like consuming content, if you're not making that mistake, right? Because as I said, it's prevalent now on the internet, just because like that's just how things turned out, right? So this is something to be careful of, and that's just what I wanted to talk about today. So thank you for watching, and if you want to be part of my contacts, you can click on the link in the description. You'll get exclusive content from me. So thank you, and see you in the next one.